In the rarefied atmosphere of the luxury saloon, there aren't too many choices. In fact, there are so few you can count them all on one hand. Mercedes-Benz S-Class, Maserati Quattroporte, Audi A8, Jaguar XJ, and this car, the BMW 7 Series. And even though there isn't a lot of it, competition in the million-plus bracket is tough. Anyone who makes a car in this class has to create quite an impressive recipe to convince those captains of industry and other very smart people to part with their hard-earned cash. The recipe has to include the best technology and high-end luxury for those who are driving and for those who are being driven. And then there's that other magic ingredient, style. Of course, the BMW 7 Series and style haven't always been synonymous, and you don't have to go too far back in history to find a 7 Series that was about as universally desirable as gum disease. Fortunately, this new one is a lot more appealing. So appealing, in fact, that BMW have hardly done anything in its midlife facelift. They've given it a new front end, a new chrome strip at the back, and fewer slats in the kidney grille. Yeah, something tells me BMW's designers decided to take an extreme approach to less is more. The appealing thing about this big Bavarian is that it's fairly understated. It has good proportions and nice lines, but despite its position in the market, it's not imposing or overbearing. It's outdone, though, by the elegance of the A8. It doesn't have a good sense of occasion like the XJ, and it's nowhere near as rude as an S-Class, but it does have its own quiet presence. In fact, quiet is a bit of a theme in here. There is that saying that a lot of money won't buy you class, but in a 730D, a lot of money will buy you a lot of refinement. This car gives you all the benefit of diesel without any of the annoying side effects. So there's lots of smooth turbo power and pretty good fuel consumption for a car this size, without even the slightest hint of any diesel clatter. The 3-litre inline 6-cylinder puts out 190 kilowatts and 560 newton meters in a way that can be enjoyed if you're cruising through traffic or if you find yourself with a bit of space. We've said before on this show that this particular motor is one of the best that BMW make, and it's almost irrelevant which model they drop it into. It's capable, it's flexible, and for those millionaires who are still conscious of their fuel bill, it makes the most money sense. It's also the cleanest diesel in its class. Even though this is the most humble 7 Series in terms of performance, and even though it weighs almost 2 tons, it has surprising get up and go. Now, there won't be too many 7 Series drivers or anyone paid to drive one of these cars who will thrash one of them through their nearest set of corners. And even though it always feels its weight, this car always feels composed, and it has got a lot of grip. Its ability is helped in no small part by the new self-leveling air suspension on the rear axle, along with all manner of electronic stability controls. If there's any complaint to be made, it is a small one. The brakes sometimes feel like they're working really hard to bring the Big 7 to a stop, even at low speed. They work, no doubt, but they feel like they're making a real effort, which is not something anything else on this car needs to do. The 8-speed gearbox is smooth and quick even when you're pushing it. The suspension soaks up everything no matter what driving mode you're in, and the steering is spot on. Integrated active steering helps things along by turning the rear wheels. Another option helping steady this ship is the dynamic drive anti-roll management system. And just in case you're thinking it's all the options that are making this as capable as it is, I'm happy to say that I've driven a standard 730D, and even without all the extras, it still feels good. And I'm not even talking about the interior. Which is a large part of the reason why anyone would choose one luxury saloon over another. The most obvious addition in here is the 10-inch black panel display that shows speed and other information and changes color according to your driving mode, and it is the best system of its kind. There are some other options in here that seem impressive at first, but are less so when you start delving into the details. The optional TV system at the back may seem like a fun idea, but for now, your choice of channels is limited to those ones that don't require a decoder. Then there's the fridge, which will hold a few bottles and some glasses, but basically destroys the boot space. You're left with an odd-shaped area that's far less accommodating than usual. Besides those gripes, the interior of this particular individual spec 7 Series is as you'd expect. Real wood, fine leather, nice touches like an Alcantara roof lining, plenty of space, and all the luxury that 1,403,844 Rand can buy. The BMW 730D is very good at what it does. It's got technology, it's got a good ride, it's got luxury, it's even got a bit of status, but it just doesn't have any personality. In that sense, it's very much like any other business tool. It could be a smartphone or a very big fancy water cooler. For me, there's only one car to rule them all in this class, and that's the Jaguar XJ.
The 3-litre six-cylinder proves itself yet again. It's a superb engine that is as refined as it is flexible and delivers no matter what the driving conditions. This latest 7 delivers plenty on the luxury and tech fronts, but despite the required air of exclusivity, it can't quite match its rivals for personality.